Rayz Dayz, episode 141. As I like to do in every episode of Rayz Dayz, because it is so easy to be negative about things, to be critical of things, I want to highlight something in my life that I am thankful for, that I've been doing for a few months now on this show at the end of every episode. And in this week I'm thankful for kind of something that can definitely manifest itself in a very negative way in people, can manifest itself negatively in me probably at times, make me a little bit difficult to deal with, but it is part of me, and it's something that clearly I've been in that mode this week. So this week I'm thankful for my mania, as I am a self-diagnosed bipolar. Depression is something that it's been easy to identify in myself throughout my entire life. But the manic part, the mania, has been something that I always had a different definition, which is a different type of bipolar, which is definitely more dangerous and troubling manifestation of mania. Whereas in me, it's part of it is this energy I get, this inspiration I get with a new thing. I get amped up over, like this week, amped up with ChatGPT, which I appreciate and I'm thankful for because it gives me this fuel that I have. One, it gives me immense optimism and hope, which obviously the opposite side of depression, especially like severe depression, but then because of that high, it can kind of, when the reality of the thing sets in, can make me swing the other way and be depressed because this thing I was so amped up about and hopeful for doesn't necessarily have the immediate positive impact that I assume it will, which I don't necessarily assume that it will, but I see all of the ways this thing is going to help improve what I do. And that kind of feeds into the mania and feeds into my hope and my energy and my stoke to use this thing, but also to kind of proselytize this thing, where I noticed it when I was talking to an old friend of mine, recommending it to them. She's a teacher, science teacher, and also bipolar, and she immediately noticed because she wasn't as excited as I was. She was definitely more tentative, and as I am in most things, knowing the downsides of what AI is going to do to society, but my excitement seeing how it's going to benefit me personally, I have been telling people and hoping that they would have the same excitement that I do, but because it's not something that's affecting them necessarily, there's a complete disparity in energy that's coming from different people. And it was, clearly I had already kind of felt like I've kind of gotten used to identifying when I am in those manic states, when I have that kind of that energy where like my brain is constantly going. I'm thinking of like potential way down the road of things, and like really positive, really hopeful, really optimistic, which of course can come back to bite you in the butt when reality sits in. But for me, and it's something that in creating the name for the business that I run, Inspired Disorder, I wasn't necessarily aware of the clinical definition of what I have, but I always knew that inspiration was something that fueled me and that gave me a lot of energy, and at times felt like it was a disorder. Not necessarily a negative disorder, but it definitely can be. Having somebody that's super positive and energized about a thing that maybe other people don't get, and then to see the opposite side of how I can be as well when I'm severely depressed. But it gives me that energy to like push forward, to experiment with things, to change and grow, and like it gives me like it feels like it's, you know, it's in some ways it's like how an energy drink can wake you up, right? But it wakes me up in a way to where I feel like I can accomplish anything, right? Like that everything is within within reach. Everything is possible. And that's not real. Definitely something in my head. But that mindset is something that I enjoy. Like when it's like surfing, right? You can go out on your board and there could be no waves, and then all of a sudden you see a set coming in and you take advantage of that set, riding every wave you can, because who knows when the next set of waves is coming. And for me, I'm riding this energy, this manic energy, to get, you know, focusing that energy into productive things, projects that I need to get done, ways in which I can improve and refine how I do things in a way. So I'm kind of like taking advantage of this energy that I get when I'm manic and putting it to a good use, and hopefully not disturbing anybody around me, which I don't think I am, but it can lead me to being, you know, more irritated and have less patience for people and be more defensive about things, because I am so amped. And when other people aren't sharing that ampedness, that stoke, it can almost be offensive, but I think that I'm able to notice it. I think I'm able to handle that. Like I've matured in that way a little bit more over the years, especially knowing that it is something that I do. So I got to say, I'm thankful for it. And I also realize that the way it manifests in me isn't as dangerous as it can be in other people, because it can be exponentially more in other people. And that's how I always thought and had mania kind of defined. Whereas the way it manifests in some people, because there's different forms of bipolar disorder, I happen to be like, I swing farther in the depression mode, where I don't necessarily swing as much in the manic mode. So I'm thankful for it, right? I love myself. It is a fault, but it is something that I try to take advantage of and harness that energy when it does show up, because it's not always here. And who knows, in another month I could be swinging the other way, and who knows. But at least I'm taking advantage of it while the opportunity exists, and striking while the iron's hot, I guess you could say.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.